Okay, today we're going to prepare a easy stir fry using a pre-made, pre-frozen blend of vegetables, some tofu, and some additional fresh vegetables that we've got. I wanted to do something that's, again, low in sodium, and for people who do not eat meat, this would be an alternative that anybody could have. So here we go. Let's get started. Okay, so first things we're going to do are cut up our pepper. Discard what we're not going to use. Cut out any of the pith that we don't want, that white stuff. And then we'll cut up our mushrooms. I'm going to make my stir fry with noodles. You can do rice. I kind of like having it with noodles. It's versatile. Works either way. And most noodles are sodium free. So you can make quite a few and make quite a few batches. So we'll cut up these and then we'll cut up our mushrooms. And in the meantime, let's get started, get the water boiling. As you can see, we have our pans ready. So we will just make sure we get the water boiling. And then the noodles I've got are just ones I got at Costco. As you can see, no sodium. You also want to look for, if you're looking for noodles, you want to look for something that is made from semolina wheat. So durum wheat, semolina wheat, that's what you want. You don't want the other noodles. I mean, they're cheaper, but they're also not really pasta. I learned that in a video today. Depending on how you want your, how big you want your vegetables, you can slice them, or you can chop them up a little bit finer. So I'm just doing rough cuts. I'm not making anything professional here. I'm just trying to get these prepped so that they can go in the pan. Because we still have to prep the tofu, which actually, once you got your vegetables however you want them, you get your, also work on the mushrooms. Some people will rinse their mushrooms. Some people might also say that these mushrooms don't look good anymore because they're getting kind of brown. These are perfectly fine as long as you're cooking them. I'm not a big fan of raw mushrooms to begin with, but I just wipe them off. Don't need to rinse them because then they just retain the water. And then just doing a rough chop. Again, making sure they're not like really slimy or anything, but just clean the dirt off. That's all you really want to do. I'm leaving them kind of big to put in there because they'll cook down. Mushrooms are mostly water, so they will cook down smaller. Get the dirt off of these. And then we'll add them, and they'll be ready to go too. So, in the meantime, I wanted to talk about prepping tofu. I've only done this once before with tofu. I have not actually used tofu very much in my life, so this is a new thing for me. One thing you're supposed to do is drain it. So, assuming you can get it open. Okay. There we go. Because as you can see, it's very wet. So Get as much of the water out of it as possible. And then what you also want to do is once you've gotten the water out of the liquid out of the tofu, you want to take it out of the package. And then continue to get more water out of it, more moisture. As you can see, it's got plenty of liquid in it. I'm going to need more paper towel. If you have a kitchen towel that you would use for this, you could do that too. This was frozen, and I let it thaw. One of the things that they said about tofu that's really nice is that you can freeze it, and it kind of changes the structure of it a little bit and makes it a little more porous and better able to hold on to sauces and things like that. Again, there's just a lot of liquid in this. So we're going to get as much out as possible. In the meantime, our water is boiling, so let's throw our noodles in. Now, I always go by the package directions and then taste test them. So this one says cook for about 11 minutes. So, just turn this down a little bit. Don't need it quite that high. And we'll set a timer for 11 minutes. Once you've got your tofu mostly dry, then you want to cut it up into smaller pieces so that you can fry it up. So I like to get somewhat even chunks out of it. And as you can see, it's a lot drier now than it was before, but nice even pieces. One of the things we should have been doing is heating up our pan. As you can see, our water is boiling. So we're just going to add a little bit of oil to our pan. A lot of oil to our pan because this pours slowly. There we go. You can use avocado or olive oil. Either one works. Get that nice and heated up, and then we will get the tofu in there to brown it up. Okay, so our skillet's nice and hot, and we're just going to dump the tofu in there and get it sizzling. And we're gonna make sure we're stirring our our pasta as well, as we are browning the tofu. Make sure it's nice even layer. Okay. So I like to start seasoning things early. So I'll just add a little garlic powder. I've got some other stuff on reserve, but I'm going to wait for the vegetables. First, we got to get these nice and browned up. Cook off some of the excess water in there. And that'll take, I don't know, 10-ish minutes or so. As you can see, the tofu is getting nice and brown. Alexa, stop. And the noodles are done. So, I'm just going to turn down the heat on this a little bit, and then I'm going to drain my noodles after I make sure that they are done. So, let's grab one and make sure it's at the right consistency. Yep, that's perfect. Okay. Drain our noodles. And now that we've got this going and everything is in a good spot, we're going to add in a little sesame oil, because we're also going to add in our stir-fry blend. And our vegetables that we cut up before. Plus some shallots I cut up the day before. It's probably about one whole shallot, maybe a shallot and a half. And then we just make sure we stir it. It is going to need a little bit more oil, so we'll add a little more avocado oil just to make sure we don't stick and burn anything. And also, we want something for the seasonings to adhere to. This already smells really good, but now we're going to add our seasonings in. So this is where you season to taste. I didn't have any fresh jalapeno, so I'm adding some dried jalapeno in for a little bit of a nice jalapeno flavor. I'm also going to add some crushed red pepper for heat, because I like mine a little bit on the spicier side. A little more garlic powder for the vegetables. Again, if you have fresh garlic, that would work better, but I had garlic powder, so work with what you got. And then I'm also going to add some cumin, because I think that will just make this nice and tasty. So, and then we're just going to stir it up and cook it until those frozen vegetables are no longer frozen and the other vegetables have kind of cooked down a little bit. You'll see them, especially the mushrooms, will cook down quite a bit as they lose water. So and again, you're on a medium heat. You just want to kind of, you don't want to burn anything, but you can turn it up a little bit. We put it down to not burn the tofu, but as you can see, the tofu has that nice brown look to it. In the meantime, I'm going to transfer the pasta to a bowl. This is smelling really good. So we are getting these vegetables nice and cooked down. Everything looks colorful. Nice, healthy meal. Plenty of protein from the tofu, and nice healthy serving of vegetables for the day. So, give this another minute or so, and then we'll serve it up. Let's turn this down. Just put some of this in a bowl. Try it out. Nice thing is there will be leftovers, so I'll get a couple meals out of this. Just gonna turn that off. Okay, let's give this a try. Now, I am actually going to make sure I add a little something to it. Because I am using noodles instead of rice, I usually want to add some kind of a sauce. Generally, you can do a sauce, you can do malt vinegar is a good one. I like malt vinegar a lot, but I just wanted to try it without anything real quick, just to kind of show you. Tofu doesn't have a lot of flavor on its own, so it definitely needs something. And despite all the seasoning we added to it and everything, it definitely needs some kind of a sauce or a vinegar or something like that to jazz it up a little bit. So I'm going to go with a little more Asian sauce on this one. It's an Asian cooking and dipping sauce that I've gotten at the Pepper Palace. It's a little bit thicker, but it's definitely going to add some more flavor and heat. We'll just throw a little bit on there. Stir it up. So make sure the noodles are covered. Okay. Try a bite of that. That's good. So the trick is to make sure you cook your tofu to a nice consistency. You want it nice and brown. Otherwise it gets a little spongy and it's kind of an off-putting texture to some people. But if you get it that way, add your vegetables in, you got a nice, healthy, low-sodium meal. So I realized when I recorded this that I didn't have my face in frame. But thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe. If there's anything you want to see me do in the future, let me know. Thanks. Bye.